this is Tuesday, the 27th of February. We've got 3 more sessions before the end of the month. So let's just walk you through. The Egyptian stock market started Sunday with a dive of 5.01%. That went up roughly 4% on Monday, taking about 4% back from what it lost on Sunday when it started its own market week. As the rest of the markets reopened, the Egyptian market went back roughly to 29,000. That's on the NGX. Then you have the Nairobi stock market. I was really enthused to see the shares of Kenya Power and Safaricom being the most actively traded. Then you got some of the big names, such as NCB and others in the green territory. That lifted the all-share index 1.07%. The NSE 20 index was even much bigger, roughly 7%. Look at the Nigerian NGX. We saw FBN holding shares, more than 2 billion traded on Monday. The stock also went up maximum 10%. On the downside, we saw a couple of names in the banking sector. Access Bank, outside banking sector, Nestle, Nigeria's biggest a consumer goods company and food beverage company, lost 10% of its share price, trading below 1,000 naira per share. The market was a little bit mixed on Monday. We lost roughly 50.7 billion naira on the market cap. But just stepping out into the new week. The Zimbabwe stock market recovered about 1.1% on Monday, while the South African market was down by 0.8%. The shares of Vodacom, Telkom, MTN Group were among the top decliners on the GSE starting the week on Monday. So that's just a summary of your trading day. A flattish Monday also in Ghana. Let's move on quickly and check in what the big headlines are in East Africa, with Mauritius planning to do $500 million sustainability or ESG bond sale in the next couple of weeks. This according to news from Bloomberg. Kenya Power says it's gotten approval to charge customers in US dollars. President Ruto's administration is every dollar on the table, and that's to support the country's FX liquidity situation. Kenya oil dealers are now in panic because Uganda has sidestepped Mombasa port for its fuel imports, and you're going to use the Tanga port in Tanzania. How would the fuel get there? That's anyone's guess, but let that be sorted out by President Museveni and his team in Uganda. And not so good news for Kenya, as the Financial Action Task Force, as financial watchdog, has added Kenya's name to the money laundering global list, as well as Namibia in Southern Africa, while Uganda was exited from that grey list. South Africa is still trying to wiggle its way out of that grey list by the FATF. Good news, however, for Uganda, as Standard Chartered introduces international banking in the East African economy. Those are your headlines, east of the continent. Let's move on and check with West Africa. Of course, you know the big story today for Nigeria's central bank, Cardoso, and the rest of his new monetary policy committee meeting, deciding the interest rate decision today. The public announcement, or what we call a press briefing, is expected at 2 p.m. Nigerian time. It's the first time since July last year when the central bank moved on interest rate, and the first MPC meeting under Cardoso's leadership as the head of the central bank. Some good news as well. President Tinubu yesterday ordered the immediate implementation of the Orosanye report, which will essentially merging or combining a number of government entities. We've got roughly 700 odd numbers of them in the country. Now the government is spooling them down to reduce the cost of governance in Africa's biggest economy. It's a report that's been on the shelf since 2012, many years after the Orosanye report, which has been pushed aside by the previous administrations, is now brought forward by the Tinubu's administration to help the country minimize the cost of running the government. So dusting off the Orosanye report and putting it into business. Interesting decision today. Bayo Ajayi, congratulations, has been named the new CEO of Nigerian unit of Rand Merchant Bank. And of course, Togo and Rwanda yesterday presented the Ascension Agreement at the WTO's ministerial conference in Abu Dhabi to join the Global Fisheries Subsidies Program. Congratulations. While some other countries also tendered their reports. The number of WTO membership is expanding, according to Ngozi Okonjo-Iweala, the Director General, and says the number could be as additional as much as 8 countries join the WTO. Currently, we have 164 meetings for 4 days in the United Arab Emirates. And finally, Senegal says it's raised about 30 billion CFA francs from the UEMOA financial markets. Those are your headlines. West of the continent. Let's go to Southern Africa. With the big economic data on tap this week for South Africa starting Thursday. With the PPI data, we have the South Africa's PMI numbers, as well as the country's new vehicle sales data out on Friday. ABSA SA PMI will be out on Friday, the 1st of March. All of this in the very big week. South Africa state is looking to raise about $3.3 billion for climate change projects or initiatives within the country, while Zambia's dollar debt has jumped because of the restructuring program of his debt that has been worked out with the Chinese authorities as well as parties in India. Malawi is looking at about 1 trillion kwanzas caught in its external debt as the country sees its FX reserves recovering, and that's according to latest information, while Mozambique says as much as $8 billion or more could come through the concession of the Maputo Port in the southern African economy. Let's touch on in North Africa and see where Morocco's inflation reading just about 2.3% for the month of January. That data came in just over the weekend. What else do we have in North Africa with Egypt? And UA reporting that its dollar bond sales is strongly performing because you have investors jumping in from the Middle East, in particular the UAE. It's got a deal, however, also with the UAE, that is Egypt's North Africa's biggest economy, and that is helping the country. It's also looking to build, that is Egypt looking to build logistics corridor in Tanzania and Rwanda. That's the East African market. It's all part of intra-Africa economic investment and trade relations. Algeria is looking at a new gas market as it expands its port operations. And finally, the IMF has told Morocco to speed up its structural reforms, make it quick and rapid. No time to waste. Time is money. And that's your Frontier Opening Bell this Tuesday, the 27th of February. I am Bosi Namafai. Watch the show again on our YouTube as well as on our website, and follow us on across all our social media platforms, and would like to hear back from you. You can subscribe to our YouTube. It's free, by the way. Have a great day.